Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Game Hunting. In my neck of the woods, that being Cornwall in the UK, this particular location, Retro Blast Coffee and Arcade, is in Nukem. And as you can see, as soon as you enter the building, you are greeted with a bunch of retro arcade machines, which is really awesome to see. Now, I believe these are modern arcade machines, that being machines with a flat screen display rather than a CRT inside, but there's still a bunch of classic games here and a bunch of great games at that on offer, which is really cool to see. Now, I will admit that this place is often packed, and it was a little difficult to find a good angle to film when there weren't a lot of people inside of here, but that is just evident to how awesome this place was. But I was able to grab some footage. Here you can see the Donkey Kong and Pac-Man machines on the other side of the arcade machines that I just showed you. They also had track and field here and hyper sports a little further in, and some more arcade machines as you move further in towards the back of the shop as well. Now, as you can see on the far wall there, they have a lot of products on sale here as well. They have everything ranging from video games to role-playing games and Magic the Gathering trading cards and accessories as well. And I did pick up some stuff from this location, and I pick up some retro games later in the video, so be sure to keep an eye out for that as well. Here we have Galaga and Asteroids, fantastic arcade games right here, next to Ms. Pac-Man and Dig Dug, another two fantastic arcade machines. And it's really awesome to see these and see a bit of a revival of arcade gaming, because Nukem is a location which used to have a lot of arcades, but over time they shut down, and it's good to see a location like this that not only has arcade machines but also has coffee, another one of my loves in life, available as well as doing role-playing games and video games on sale as well. Here's Robotron right here next to Wizards of War. Robotron is one of my favorite games of all time. I used to love playing a Commodore version of that by Jeff Minter known as Lamatron. It was a clone of this game, but it was really awesome. Aside from Wizards of War here, we have Tempest, and there's Cuba there as well. All of these games are really awesome to see. It was great to see people play these, especially the younger folk who may not have experienced these when they came out. To get a glimpse at some real arcade games was very cool. All of these machines are set up to play. They're 50 pence to play at any time. There's a couple of new machines which were just added here with Rampage and Defender, and I believe these were newly put into this location, and again it was really cool to see these. Some awesome games to pick up and play for 50 pence a go, and I definitely did have to give one of those a go as well. So taking a look at the back end here where the products are on sale, I also play Dungeons and Dragons, or have played Dungeons and Dragons at this location, so it's good for role play as well. And it's also great to grab a coffee here as well. I've done that as well. Most of the stuff they have here on offer in terms of video games, I will say, however, is on the modern side, so PlayStation 2 upwards. And I spoke to the owner, and they said they simply just don't get in a lot of the older generation games because they're harder to come by, or people are holding on to them. So there wasn't a lot, at least in interest for myself, on video games here, because I have a lot of the modern stuff already, PS2 onwards, you know, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, a lot of that stuff is really easy to find. If you're looking for that stuff, this is a great place to find it because it's often very cheap and it's very affordable, but I have a lot of that stuff already. So I did take a look here at two guidebooks here for some awesome old PC games. I have the big box version of these, and we have Baldur's Gate 2 here, and we have Icewind Dale. These were incredibly tempting. These guidebooks were pretty cool. It looks like they might have posters included with them as well. These were certainly something that really drew my eye when I came here. But just a reminder, I did pick stuff up in this video, later in the video, some retro games, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. They have a lot of PlayStation 2 stuff here. I know a lot of people are really into PlayStation 2. I pretty much have most of the PS2 games I want at this point. They had a lot of great original Xbox games here, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and they had Dungeons and Dragons Heroes here. These are great games, that being an Xbox exclusive Heroes, but I already have these. Like I mentioned, I have a lot of these games already, so I didn't need to pick them up at this point, but they have some great titles here. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is a fantastic Star Wars themed RPG, a great game, and it's also playable on the Xbox One with the original disc, which I have played it that way as well. There's some Dungeons and Dragons accessories here, DM screens and things like that, but what I did end up picking up, being a bit of a dice goblin myself, is I grabbed some dice, and they had a lot of different dice in this container here, and what I ended up picking up was some transparent pink dice, and I also grabbed some solid pink dice as well, but I don't have footage of that because that was in the window. Here you can see playing a bit of Phoenix on the arcade machine. This was absolutely fantastic and a great way to experience it, and I just can't say enough good things about Retro Blast, but we're going to move on to our next location here. That is in Truro, and that is Faceless Monkey. Now, people may know that this is a regular haunt of mine. I have shown it previously in previous video game hunting videos, so you would have seen this location before. They have everything here, and everything is pretty much where it lies, really. They have things like comic books, they have action figures, they have video games, they have video game consoles, controllers, and everything is just sort of where it is. So this is one of those locations where you would go around and pick out things you want to have a look at and then take them to the seller to see what they're priced at, and that's a different experience entirely. The organization here is somewhat of the fun of looking around a place like this, I would say, and this is in Pannier Market in Truro. I had a good look at that Amiibo stand, actually, was something I was looking at. You can see a Mega Drive here with some stickers on it, which is just really cool. I see Papa Shango at the bottom there from the WWF days of wrestling. There were some modern games on the table outside of this location, including Xbox 360. There was a Wii U here in the box and a GameCube there next to a Mario statue. Some PlayStation 2 games stacked up on the left hand side there. Some consoles being tested by a screen, a flat screen over there. And some cartridge games here on the right hand side shelves of the left hand of the two cubicles here. There's some cartridge games down there in a tub next to an NES and a PlayStation 2 controller here. There's a lot of Game Boy games and Nintendo games in this section of shelving here. Everything's sort of jumbled around, which is cool to dig through it. There's some Game Boys there, Game Boy Colors, some Wii games here, some PlayStation stuff. There's a little more organization here with the more desirable items that are more eye-catching and probably more sought after for people to grab. There's Blades of Vengeance up there. I already have that game, but not in the best condition. I have it boxed, but my box has some sun damage. Anyway, I did pick up some Nintendo 64 games, that being Diddy Kong Racing and Duke Nukem 0 Hour. And the Diddy Kong Racing was a very dirty cartridge, but because of that, I got a really good deal for the two of these games combined, buying them together. And 0 Hour was great to grab as well. The next location we check out is Inspire in Newquay. And this is a location that sells a lot of D&D stuff, a lot of pop culture items. They have action figures and things like that. And as you can see, they also have dice and loads of cool things at this location. And what I would describe their specialty as is this kind of growing interest in mainstream nerd culture. That being things that are perceived as nerdy, but nevertheless very popular. And it's a personality that I really like about this shop, where they have anime items like Dragon Ball Z and popular shows such as Stranger Things all living together in this space, as well as you can see as Switch games. Here's a game called Star Renegades, which looked really interesting, and I took a dive at some of these Switch games. There was No More Heroes 3 there, and Gang Beasts, and behind that we have a game called Treasures of the Aegon, and behind that we have a Shin Megami Tensei game. On the other side of that we have The Ninja Saviors, which is a game I would have definitely picked up if I didn't already have that on the PlayStation 4. Behind that there were two games that required a digital download, and as a physical game collector I kind of gave those a miss. There's Rico London there, but the game that really stood out to me here was this Turrican collection, the Turrican Flashback collection. That seemed really cool, and at just under £20 for a collection of Turrican games, a collection of great shoot 'em up games, that seemed like an awesome price. So as a bonus here, our next location is the same location, only a couple of days after filming that content where they were quite busy and I couldn't give a great view of the inside. They actually moved down the road to Bank Street in Newquay and got a much bigger location with these big open windows where you could see inside, and I caught them as they were setting up here. The place hasn't fully fleshed out, fully filled up, and they've got so much good stuff here. And again, the personality of this shop, the items they have, the wide variety of items they have are on display here, from Pokemon games here to Nintendo stuff from The Legend of Zelda. They had some Pokemon Switch games up there next to action figures, some Nintendo Switch Zelda games here with Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword HD. As well as that, they had Dragon Ball items here as well, which look really awesome, and I really dig these action figures from Dragon Ball Z here. And I have to say that this scene here with Goku and that section was very tempting. There's a Dragon Ball Z game there as well. There was in fact a Kirby game on the wall to the right there that I missed because they were kind of spread out now, whereas they were previously at one location. As you saw on the far side of the wall there at the back of the shop, there was some Warhammer, which is next to some Dungeons and Dragons and some trading card stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, and just above that they had the games. It was a little bit of a reach for me because I am rather short, but I did take another look at the games there because I wanted to support this location, and I ended up picking up that Star Renegades game, which was a sci-fi RPG, and it looked really cool. So let's see what I picked up. So what did I pick up? Well, first of all, from Faceless Monkey Intro, I picked up Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64. This is a fantastic kart racing game, and I got both this and the next cartridge for a great price because Faceless Monkey always delivers, and because these were unboxed, and in particular the Diddy Kong Racing cartridge was very dirty, I got them at a great price. And I will say this cartridge cleaned up very nicely and both cartridges did work completely fine. Now, this is an amazing racing game. It takes a lot of inspiration from Mario Kart 64, which is the game that I had during the run of the Nintendo 64, but I always looked on in envy at Diddy Kong Racing, and I've been after it for a while, and now I finally have it. It's a wonderful game, whether your preference is for Mario Kart 64 or Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing with the Donkey Kong characters offers a lot of things that the Mario Kart game does not, and it's a brilliant game from Rare, and it's very fun, and it's one of the just great games on the system, so I very much recommend it. Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64. The next game I picked up from Faceless Monkey was Duke Nukem 0 Hour on the Nintendo 64. Now, most people will know Duke Nukem from the PC games, that being the first-person shooter. Now, those games were ported to everything, and even to this day they are ported to modern systems. But the character of Duke Nukem has had a bit of a hard time. Their last game that was new, I believe, was on the Xbox 360, which was the second Xbox console. And even prior to that, they had a long run of about a decade, I think, of not having a game released for them. That game was in developmental hell, and now the character hasn't had much of a resurgence except for a rumoured film that is in the works with John Cena playing the character of Duke Nukem. This game, as far as I know, is Nintendo 64 exclusive and is apparently pretty good. This is a third-person shooter rather than a first-person game, and it's cool to pick this up. It is rather desirable, I believe, as was Diddy Kong Racing, so it's good to get both of these games at a good price, and I'm glad to have that. So that's Duke Nukem 0 Hour on the Nintendo 64. Next up from Inspire, and I actually picked this up from the second visit after they relocated, I picked up Star Renegades for the Switch. Now, this is a sci-fi RPG. It's very roguelike, and it is designed to be replayed. There's elements of randomization to this game as well. And it has beautiful pixel graphics. I really dig the retro-inspired look, and the art style of this game looks amazing. The presentation was really cool, which really led me towards this game. And from what I understand, this game is very well acclaimed as well. Now, the story for this game, as I understand, is that these creatures have come from another place and they are attacking your world. Where the game picks up, your world has already been destroyed and you're traveling back in time at these different instances to try and prevent these monsters and change history. You can get defeated in this point, which makes the monsters more powerful for your next run through, and there it is designed to be replayed, and that's where you get more play out of this game. It's a very cool game. It's got an overworld, it's got turn-based tactical combat. I really enjoy that, so there's a lot of stuff I like about this game. It looks really cool. That's Star Renegades on the Switch. And finally, I picked up, also from Inspire on my first visit, the Turrican Flashback Collection on the Switch. Now this is a collection of Turrican games. Now I know that Strictly Limited did two anthology collections for Turrican, which were more complete than the Turrican Flashback release. They had more versions of the games on them, but having said that, even though there's a more complete, which is really cool, they are around about £30 each for two collections. Whereas I picked this up for what I thought it was a pretty good deal of £20. It might not have all of the extra features of the two Flashback collections, but you save money there, and this still has 4 Turrican games on it, which are still really awesome. This legendary collection includes Turrican and Turrican 2, I believe those are the Amiga versions. It also has Mega Turrican, also known as Turrican 3, I believe that is a Mega Drive or Genesis if you will version, and it also has Super Turrican, the Super Nintendo game on here as well. So 4 amazing shoot 'em up games on this collection. It seems like a really good deal and I'm really happy to grab this. This is definitely something I've had my eye on for a while, and the spur of the moment had me pick it up, and I'm really glad to have it because these are great games. So there you have it. That is the Turrican Flashback Collection on the Switch. And there you have it. Those are all of my pickups for this episode of Game Hunting. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like or a comment to let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. And if you'd like to, you can also support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership. Thank you for watching. I've been MVL, and I will catch you next time.